3 million feral hogs are destroying Texas farmland right now. But what most people don't see is the extraordinary battle being fought by ordinary families to save generations of hard work from complete devastation. They told us it was just a few pigs wandering through the fields. But those pigs turned into hundreds, then thousands. Now we're staring down an army that roots up fences, chews through irrigation systems, and tears down entire cornfields in a single night. What's left behind looks like a war zone. A farmer whose family has farmed the same land for 4 generations discovered this when a herd destroyed $50,000 worth of crops overnight. We're not just fighting for this season's harvest, he says. We're fighting for our children's future. This isn't just a nuisance anymore. It's a full-blown invasion where families regularly risk everything they own on a single growing season. And these destructive invaders can wipe out decades of work in hours. I'm not out here for sport. None of us are. We're farmers, ranchers, fathers, and neighbors who refuse to watch our communities crumble under this relentless assault. Tech Motion follows the Texas Feral Hog Hunting Championship, where over 5,000 hunters unite for 3 intense nights across dozens of embattled farms with one unwavering mission: stop the herd, save the fields, reclaim our homeland. What we discovered about the people who've turned this fight into both the most dangerous and most necessary battle of their lives will change how you see this war forever. You think you know what farmers deal with? Wait until you hear how this invasion changed everything we thought we knew about survival. I've witnessed cattle succumb to disease and watched merciless drought turn fertile fields into worthless dust. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, hits with the devastating force of a wild hog invasion. These creatures don't wait for the cover of darkness anymore. They've grown bold, brazen, and seemingly unstoppable, launching their attacks at dawn, at dusk, and even under the blazing high noon sun. One particular morning, I was inspecting the edge of my soybean field in broad daylight, checking for storm damage from the night before. Suddenly, 15 massive hogs exploded through the tree line like living battering rams, their powerful shoulders driving forward with terrifying determination. They didn't flinch when they saw me, didn't slow their devastating charge. Within minutes, they tore through 2 acres of crops before I could even grab my rifle and get off a single shot. That very night, as if mocking my efforts, they returned with reinforcements. This time from the west fence line, 20, maybe 30 strong, charging through my corn like an unstoppable freight train carrying pure destruction. By morning, my field looked like a bomb had detonated in the heart of my livelihood. People still dismiss it, saying, it's just pigs causing some trouble. But they don't witness the aftermath. Shredded fences that took generations to build, soil turned to useless mud, and newborn calves that simply vanish in the night. At first, it seemed manageable. Just 1 or 2 curious animals nosing around the edges of our property. Now we face entire armies, 40, 50 strong, moving across our land like they own every acre we've spent years cultivating. What people don't understand is that these aren't simple barnyard pigs that wandered off and went wild. They're calculated crossbreeds, European boars mixed with domestic hogs, creating the perfect storm of intelligence and aggression. Thick hide that can deflect smaller caliber shots, razor-sharp tusks that can slice through fence wire, intelligence that surpasses most farmed. But the real nightmare isn't just their devastating raids, it's their explosive reproduction rate, 2 litters every single year. Up to a dozen piglets per litter. One breeding sow becomes 50 destructive adults faster than you can comprehend. Texas now hosts over 3 million of these invasive destroyers, more than half of all feral hogs in the entire United States. They don't just wreck crops with systematic efficiency. They poison our streams with contamination. They trample fences that represent generations of investment. They even attack livestock with vicious coordination. Some neighbors burn with fury at the relentless assault. Others have simply surrendered to hopelessness, abandoning fields they can no longer protect. But here's what we all discovered through blood, sweat, and financial ruin: that this isn't just a nuisance we can ignore. This is a full-scale invasion of our way of life. and it was time we started treating it exactly like the war it had become. But our traditional methods were about to prove completely useless. Everything we thought we knew about stopping them was dead wrong, and it almost cost us everything. This land used to represent peaceful farmland, where families built legacies over generations. Now it's transformed into an active battlefield where traditional farming wisdom means nothing. Across Texas, families are helplessly watching generations of backbreaking work get literally torn apart by feral hogs. And the supposed experts keep offering solutions that fail spectacularly. You'd assume we'd all unite behind a proven strategy to handle this crisis. The reality? We couldn't be more divided. Some well-meaning folks argue we should capture them humanely, cage them like pets, even relocate them to distant areas where they'll become someone else's problem. They preach that hunting is unnecessarily cruel and barbaric, but they've never witnessed what a wild hog does to a defenseless newborn calf. The sight will haunt you forever. We tried their compassionate methods with genuine hope. Net traps, they require hours of careful setup, and a single powerful charge from a determined boar tears through them like tissue paper, leaving you with expensive equipment and zero results. Relocation sounds reasonable until you realize the devastating truth. You haul them 10 miles away, and suddenly your neighbor faces the exact same destruction you just escaped. That's not a genuine solution. That's simply passing along catastrophic damage. What we discovered actually works, when conditions align perfectly, involves setting up massive steel cage traps designed to contain entire groups. Large enough to hold a dozen adults simultaneously. You wait patiently until the complete group ventures inside, investigating the bait with typical curiosity. Then, you trigger the gate mechanism. Hard, fast, final. The process isn't pretty or comfortable to witness, but it's infinitely better than watching your life's work die inch by devastating inch. However, these steel cage traps revealed a critical weakness. They demanded too much precious time that we simply didn't have while our fields burned. Cage traps only capture small groups, and once these intelligent creatures figure out the trick, they avoid those areas like a plague, teaching their offspring to do the same. One careless move, one trace of human scent left behind, and they disappear completely, often for months. That's when we realized we needed a completely different approach, one that would change everything we thought we knew about fighting back. When patience failed, we discovered why taking the fight directly to them was our only real option. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The call had gone out statewide, announcing the Texas Feral Hog Hunting Championship. 5,000 skilled hunters converging on the problem. 3 intense days of coordinated action. One crystal clear mission: knock back the exploding hog population and reclaim our stolen land. For some participants, the attraction was substantial prize money and bragging rights. For us, this fight was deeply personal. Every destroyed crop represented food taken from our children's mouths. Unlike passive traps that surrender control, hunting puts power back in your hands. You decide when action happens and where battles are fought. With rifles, you move, you track. You eliminate the immediate threat with lightning speed and devastating precision. Some experienced hunters train specialized dogs to track and corner these elusive targets. When it works, it's genuinely helpful and can save entire crops. But in thick brush or vast open fields, even the most skilled dogs can't stop a coordinated herd moving like a destructive wave across the landscape. Then there's the bait strategy: fermented corn scattered strategically under moonlight, hoping to lure them into range. You wait for hours in uncomfortable positions. Finally, one curious hog investigates. Bang! One shot, one kill. The rest of the herd vanished into the night like they were never there. They don't return to that location. These creatures learn from every encounter and adapt their behavior accordingly. But hunting as a coordinated force, that changed everything. We stopped reacting defensively to their attacks. We started planning strategic offensives. We assembled a dedicated team, seasoned hunters who understood the terrain, farmers who'd lost too much to quit, and experienced marksmen who'd been perfecting their craft since childhood. We registered as Team 13 with quiet determination. No corporate sponsors funding fancy equipment, no marketing campaigns, just reliable bolt-action rifles, quality scopes, and a truck that rattled ominously on rough back roads but never quit. At sunrise, we would discover just how different this kind of hunting really was. Do you think hunting is the right solution? If you were in the shoes of a Texas farmer, what would you do? Share your thoughts in the comments. What we discovered in those fields changed how we understood this fight forever and why some of us never came home the same. At sunrise, the championship horn echoed across the countryside. Teams spread out like wildfire across rolling hills and dense valleys. Some chose stealth tactics with trained dogs and radio coordination. Others established patient blinds with carefully placed bait. We chose direct action instead of waiting. We headed straight for the valley, prime hog territory where destruction was guaranteed. You could smell the distinctive wallow pits from hundreds of yards away. Fresh tracks crisscrossed everywhere, like a busy highway. Fences bent low under repeated pressure. Clear evidence that something massive and organized had passed through recently. We moved with practiced efficiency and tactical precision. One team member positioned high with the scope for maximum visibility. Two others flanked low for optimal angles. Then, we spotted them. Broad shoulders catching morning light. Deadly tusks glinting with menace. No hesitation, no second thoughts. 3 coordinated shots. 5 massive hogs dropped instantly. This was the legendary Texas Feral Hog Hunting Championship, and every detail mattered. Over 5,000 seasoned hunters converging from across the state. 2 carefully planned seasons annually, brutal winter conditions and scorching summer heat. 2 intensive weeks each season where nothing else mattered. Every hunting method known to mankind was not only allowed, but encouraged. Every shot fired would be officially counted and recorded. Each participating team could eliminate hundreds of these destructive invaders. Competition rules allowed up to 200 confirmed kills per individual hunter, a staggering number that barely dented the overall population. When the championship officially commenced, we committed everything we possessed to the cause. We tracked relentlessly at dawn when the air was cool and visibility perfect, stalked silently through towering cornfields at blazing noon when most creatures sought shade, and scrambled over treacherous rocky hillsides in fading light when desperation drove us forward. We utilized every weapon in our arsenal, from precision bolt-action rifles like the legendary Remington 700, capable of clean kills at 300 yards, to rapid-fire AR platforms for closer encounters, and even specialized bows tipped with tranquilizers for selective targeting. Some dedicated hunters invested in expensive custom rigs with advanced optics. Others relied on natural ability, keen eyes, rock-steady hands, and boots tough enough to handle brutal Texas thorns that shredded normal footwear. I still remember experienced hunter Glenn sharing crucial wisdom. If they're close and you need them to pause for a clean shot, just kill the call immediately. Let absolute silence make them stop and investigate. His advice proved invaluable time and again. Sometimes achieving success required nothing more than one controlled breath, one perfectly still moment, then bang, clean kill. But this championship represented far more than individual skill or expensive equipment. The terrain itself fought against us with merciless determination. Loose gravel that announced your position with every step, impenetrable brush that blocked crucial shots, and wild boars weighing 300 to 500 pounds charging with murderous intent if cornered or wounded. Comment 1 if you enjoyed the video, comment 0 if it wasn't your thing. We witnessed serious injuries throughout the competition. Grown men knocked completely flat by charging boars. Some participants even suffered goring wounds that required immediate medical evacuation. The absolute necessity of knowing your target became crystal clear. Misfire near valuable cattle. Or worse, accidentally hit another hunter through dense brush. And your competition ended immediately with potential criminal charges. That's precisely why extensive training proved absolutely essential for every participant. Most serious competitors spent 6 months minimum preparing. Some invested a full year learning to track hog behavior patterns, judge territorial responses, and shoot clean kills under extreme pressure. No participants under 18 were permitted due to documented safety risks. But despite every obstacle, despite the oppressive heat, choking dust, and constant physical danger, we continued pushing forward with relentless determination. We tagged every single carcass according to competition rules, loaded our truck with the evidence of our success, and headed directly for the official weigh-in station. This wasn't merely another weekend hunting competition for entertainment. This represented our definitive answer to a problem that no fence, no trap, no gentle relocation could ever solve. In this brutal landscape, that kind of decisive speed often means the difference between saving your livelihood and watching it vanish overnight. Every time we pull that trigger with steady hands, it represents more than just accurate marksmanship. It's a stand for everything we believe in: our heritage, our community, our refusal to surrender what generations built. But the real cost and victory of this war was something none of us expected. The numbers told one story, but what we gained was worth more than any statistic could measure. By the end of our grueling 2-week championship, the results spoke with undeniable clarity. Over 70,000 feral hogs permanently eliminated across Texas, a staggering number that represented countless acres saved from total destruction. Thousands of precious acres finally spared from systematic devastation that had threatened entire family legacies. Dozens of farms experienced genuine quiet for the first time in years. No more ominous hoofprints and morning mud. No more gutted fields greeting the dawn. Our team hauled in our final count with exhausted pride. 176 confirmed kills. Impressive results for 5 determined men and 1 borrowed truck that never let us down. 3 entire counties documented significant drops in crop damage reports for the first time in recent memory. Critical water lines remained intact instead of being destroyed. Essential fences held firm against pressure that previously would have flattened them. More valuable than impressive statistics, this championship gave our community something we'd almost forgotten: genuine breathing room and renewed hope. For months, we'd lived constantly on edge, dreading every sunrise that brought fresh damage, mounting costs and burning rage at our helplessness. But for the first time in years, we felt ahead of the destruction instead of constantly behind it. I stood on my back porch the peaceful morning after our hunt officially ended, surveying land that finally felt like home again. The dogs slept contentedly under the old pecan tree, no longer anxious about nightly intrusions. My rifle was cleaned and packed away with satisfaction, not defeat. The wind carried only peace across fields that had seen too much war. For once, complete quiet blessed our hard-won territory. This victory wasn't permanent. We all understood that reality perfectly. But we'd bought precious time for recovery. We'd pushed back against impossible odds. We'd proven that surrender wasn't in our DNA. When the next herd inevitably comes, and they will return with renewed determination, we'll be ready and waiting. Because this land represents everything worth fighting for, and our story was far from over. This represents only one chapter in an ongoing war, one hard-fought battle in a larger campaign for our way of life. The Hogs will return with the next season, the next heavy rain, the next moonless night, when they feel invisible and invincible. And we'll be there, waiting with the patience our fathers taught us, and the determination our children deserve. This fight will never truly end, not while there's fertile land worth protecting and families worth defending. What you've witnessed here represents only part one of a larger story about ordinary people refusing to surrender what generations built. There are more battles to fight, more tactics to master, more inspiring stories from the front lines of Texas farmland, where heroes work without recognition. The real work of protecting this sacred land has just begun, and every chapter teaches us something new about the strength that lives inside ordinary people facing extraordinary challenges. We're not backing down from this fight. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Stick around for the next chapter in our series, How Texas Farmers Deal with Millions of Wild Boars. The story gets even more intense, and the solutions even more surprising.